I have no tattoos and hair, and wear specs. And I went to private school.
It's even worse because they said that the truth,
what I mean.
however, is far more sinister because certain groups of residents include BNP activists.
How is the response been today?
Fantastic, actually. Yeah, there was. How many people would you say there were here? I think there must have been a couple hundred, wasn't there?
Wow.
About that. Yeah.
Nice
Very
one.
peaceful, almost silent protest, really.
Yeah.
Good discussions with people just expressing all the same views, really, and laughing at the idea that because we're opposing a mosque, we must be racist.
Yeah.
Which we're not.
No, of course not.
But it is funny.
We had 2,000.
Yeah.
What race is a Muslim?
Yeah.
There are white Muslims, there are brown Muslims, there are black Muslims. What race is a Muslim? To be anti-Muslim is not being racist.
No.
You coming to sign, sir?
Right, even be purple Muslims, who knows?
All right. Yes. Yeah.
You call us up at the back.
Unfortunately, but yes, as part of the democratic process, we can only have to sign that.
15-hour day.
Had a good turnout.
Fantastic, yeah, and it was good yesterday. We had 1,100 signatures.
Did you hear about the?
and we've had shed loads of good turnout today, but it went as planned. A lot of people thought it was some big demo and they were all arguing, shouting and chanting. It's not, it's just people showing their expression of their thoughts on this idea.
Expressing their own opinion.
Well, apparently there's nothing to do with us being here. Apparently they were here anyway. I went over and saw them with the police and said, look guys, if you're not a problem to us, we won't be a problem to you. At the end of the day, we're peaceful. We're here to make the right statement to the community. We're not here for some kind of stupid tear with the Muslims. Just quite relieved that we didn't get the same stupidity as we did last week outside the mosque. Well, there are lots and lots more events planned. There's virtually something every weekend. There's a few more protests planned. So it's just really, we're giving everybody as much opportunity as we can to come out and express themselves.
We're getting here on Thursday.
Yeah, we're coming here on Thursday for the planning meeting as well. I've got to double check with the guys exactly what time it starts. I think it's midday, but I'll double check. No, what that is, it's a provisional disclosure, is my understanding. And they're basically putting forward a case and saying they see no cause not to pass it. But then you had a councillor from Compton expressing himself in the paper the day that, the artist's impression came out saying, I see absolutely no reason why it shouldn't be, shouldn't be accepted. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, you shouldn't be making statements like this. What happened to, not innocent until proven guilty, but what happened to actually, becoming part of that democratic process, part of a consultative decision-making process?
We want to get involved. Just stand around,
yeah, they're very insular, and then they wonder why. If they interacted with the local community on a wider scale, if they didn't walk around with that sort of suspicious, aggressive air constantly, you've got the women in burqas. I mean, I find that really intimidating. And I've had my children say to me, why is that lady wearing that thing on her head? And my youngest actually turned around and said, what's that, Daddy? What are you going to accuse a 3-year-old child of being racist? It's not about racist, it's about...
It has happened. It has happened in schools, yeah?
It's not a race though, anyway, is it?
No.
It's an extremist social ideology that is attempting to be very supremacist. They've got these very supremacist ideas of building more and more and more and more and more mosques and bringing in more and more and more and more and trying to convert more and more and more and more. Yeah. But, it's not everyone's view. My personal view is that Islam is the greatest threat to Great Britain since the Nazis. Well, a whole generation of men turned out to oppose the Nazis, the fascism, and the aggression that came from National Socialism to lose it to this. But when it comes down to it, the bit I find reassuring though is the country is slowly but surely starting to wake up. Yeah. And Europe is slowly but surely starting to wake up. But then, as I was saying to a lady earlier, the stupid thing is you get people on the far left then saying, oh, it's terrible, the rise of the far right across Europe. The rise of the far right wouldn't be occurring any more than it would have occurred in Germany prior to the start of the Second World War. Had the German people not been oppressed, had the German people not been given a scapegoat in the form of the Jews, while their children are starving and can't put shoes on their feet, they're given the scapegoat. And the scapegoat then actively, push that issue by saying, oh, we're building a
Hey, guys.
mosque.
The bank also did that, didn't it? They put the money.
Yeah.
We always know what
It would just be lovely to see a few lessons learned from history rather than people being blind to it and going, oh, well, no, they're just racist, they're just racist, they're just racist. The good thing is, though, that where the word racist used to have a bit of clout behind it, now people hear the word racist and go, oh, whatever.
again.
Because UKIP's being called racist. Why? Because we want to come out of Europe. They've now got this new European president that by November, this sovereign nation that so many men have fought and died for is going to have no power at all. We're going to be told by Europe what we can do day in, day out. Add to that, being told by the Muslims and the media and the politicians what we can do day in, day out. Well, you can't say that because you might offend Muslims. When was the last time you heard someone say, well, you can't do that because you might offend the Catholics? Well, you can't do that because you might offend the Sikhs.
Hello, mate. You can't talk about who we are because we're English. I tried the other day to get an England shirt.
Yeah.
Because England aren't in the World Cup anymore, you can't get one. And it's like, well, why not?
Because you might be a member of the far-right extremist group that wants to wear it to upset the Muslims.
What, called England?
Yeah, that's the one. You're part of that far-right group. You're an Englishman.
Yeah, but I know it.
And also you're being told you're not indigenous,
Yeah.
which is ludicrous really, isn't it?
Really, what I found deeply amusing, I was listening to the radio. I was in Chester
Good t-shirt,
before I
mate.
came here, and I was going to see a friend of mine. And I was listening to the radio, and in old,
Hello, Doc.
the local British Asian, they're nearly at war with the Eastern European community, and the police statement is, we are struggling to contain this. So hang on a minute, why is no one calling the Asians racist? Because the Eastern Europeans are a race, not a religion. Why is no one calling them racist?
Mate, the other day, he was going through Great Mate, got to Bryn Road near the petrol station, and there was a hacky lad chasing a white lad up the street.
Yeah.
And mate called up to him, because he lost them all. And he called to him, he said, what were all that about? He said, oh, they're just being racist. And he just had to kick him out because he was white.
But of course, you cannot be racist if you're Asian or black or any other variation of the theme. So, but yeah, what we're standing up to with the protest like this is not just the mosque. It's standing up for the democratic right of free speech. It's me being able to stand here and say what I want to say.
Well, I got done the other day for calling, I call them jib jabs because I can't understand what they say. It's jibber jabber to me, and I got done in answer off someone. She turned around and said, do you not think you're ignorant? I said, why? She says, well, I said, do you not think it's ignorant I'm talking in their language in front of me? I said, after all, this is England, we speak English. I said, so why not? And I said, and anyway, I was on my Bluetooth headset. I said, and anyway, private conversation.
Do you not think you're ignorant, eavesdropping on a private conversation?
Yeah.
I was with the chaps that were taking petition signatures yesterday, and this woman walking past with a dog and going, racist, racist, racist. And I said to her, why don't you go home, get an education, and come back and tell me what race Islam is? See ya. Racist. That's all they've got. Come back, call me a racist. Fantastic. Okay, I'm a racist. I shall get racist tattooed on my head and go, there you go, it's safe to say.
Go and have a look what ISIS are doing. The proper ones, not what they show you on telly.
Exactly.
Where they're smacking them in the head with bricks and all
People are sick and tired of being told, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't have any rights in your own country because there's a minority there that you might upset. And you just say to yourself, no, that's going to get my back up. That is going to annoy me. Yes, multiculturalism does work to a degree. Yes, there is an aspect of this country that needs, skilled migrants to come in. But these are unskilled migrants. I'm not totally okay with what the latest percentages are of unemployment in the Muslim community, but it's huge.
Calais that have been kicked out of the slums and all that.
Yeah, going on hunger strike.
They have to killing themselves because to be let in here.
Yeah.
So it's like, hang on a minute, we're holding our country to ransom now.
Exactly, but this is where all these issues are inexorably linked, like with Europe. This issue isn't about Europe, but inexorably it is, because ultimately it's Europe that will now, particularly with the powers they've got, drive forward more and more and more and more immigration into this country. If they want to start a war, a civil war in this country, they're going the right way about it. But the funny thing is, when you get the Eastern Europeans, I mean, if I went up to Oldham and you've got a load of Eastern European lads being attacked by a load of Muslim lads, and I back the Eastern European lads because they're white Christians, I'll still be called racist, even though I'm still the Eastern Europeans. And it's a ludicrous situation. But then when you've got Cameron, even David Cameron, who's turning around and saying, be proud of your Britishness and teach British values and da-da-da-da-da. But in the next breath, there is a national policy for planning on the construction of new mosques that basically says don't argue. Hang on a minute, does your left hand not want to work out what your right hand's doing before the mouth's engaged?
Too busy taking
and then
the
start
money.
Well, exactly. It's all about money. All about money. You've got the elite.
Money involved.
You've got the elite sat there. I mean, if I don't know where David Cameron lives, but if somebody planned a super mosque on his doorstep, his route to work, as they call it, was going to be obstructed like Blackburn Road is,
He'd be crying.
He'd be crying into his porridge, Jim. It never happened. Same as all the other celebrities.
Well, he won't be crying, would he? He'd be getting army out.
How many high-profile celebrities with a bit of clout or politicians do you know that live in Blackburn, Oldham, Rochdale, Bolton? None of them. They wouldn't bloody want to. If you said to them, oh well, I'll tell you what, as the multiculturalism works, come and live in Bolton, they'd be like, I'm not living there. No way. It's full of immigrants. An Asian community want to build Super Mosque. Right, you don't like it then? No.
Yeah, but they're not Asians. They're Muslims.
Exactly.
Asians are different.
The Sikhs.
Well, see, I'm cautious of what I use because I'm so scared now of being called racist. Yeah. So, you know, you get driven into the scenario, well, what do I actually do?
Well, the Sikhs.
No, I'm being facetious. I'm not scared of being called racist.
The Sikhs.
It's one of them, and at the end of the day, everybody's a racist, apparently.
Yeah. Everybody's frightened of saying it. I don't understand why should you be frightened of saying it? No. I'm not a racist against black people. It's not the colour. No. Radical Muslims. Absolutely.
That's it, mate. But the trouble is that what some people are strong-minded, strong-willed individuals, not fearful of what society will throw at them. I've had 16, 17 death threats from Muslims since the start of this campaign. There's a lot of people that go, oh my God, I've got a family and I should go. Yeah, that's what they want. They want it.
55 million death threats. Somebody the other day was putting
you know what I mean? But if you're getting the death threats, you know that you're winning. You know you're making an impression.
There's no people ever win anything because it's too late. They're just so greedy. They don't need a war. They don't need kick-off. All they've got to do is there's too many people in town that they just do exactly what they like.
But you know, there's a very old saying: "Evil prospers when good men fail to act." We at least have to make the stand.
I think the trouble with this country is people like myself. Everybody's got too much to lose. And that's why they tend to whereas you're in countries like they come from, they've got maybe 10 shanties or whatever, they've got nothing to lose.
But then the French are a very militant breed, and they've banned the burqa. They're kicking them out of all these little camps they've set up at Calais. I mean, the French at least are making a stand.
Well, you're making... They're chipping away, shall we say. But it won't make any difference because they'll be all the Muslims the same as we'll be all the Muslims. Because it's just like breeding, it's as simple as that. You ain't breeding it 8 to 1, so you're
the British government and the succession of British governments are effectively promoting a race war at some point in the future.
I'll go along with that.
But we all know from history, see mate, cheers, that there's good money in war.
Yeah.
Economies prosper. All of the, all the manufacturing that goes on, all the heavy industry making munitions and so on and so forth will prosper. So there's a game plan here somewhere with it. It's just trying to get to the bottom of exactly where the logic is and how many innocents they're prepared to kill in the process.
How many mosques are involved? 40 maybe? I bet there's 40 mosques involved.
There's, I think as it stands at the minute, 34. But there's also planning permission in the background if you do the research for 26.
So how many places do they need to pray?
Well, I said to Muslims over there, because the police took me over, because there was a group of Muslims that are over in the corner there and they're giving out leaflets about Islam. And I went over to him and said, listen mate, I won't be a problem to you if you're not a problem to me. Going on, had a bit of a chat, and my closing comment to him was, listen mate, you know you don't need the Super Mosque, I know you don't need the Super Mosque, I've seen your lot in the Trafford Centre praying, so you tell me why you need this mosque, you can pray anywhere. Christians don't need to, they say that people don't attend church anymore, that's because Christians aren't brainwashed into believing that they've got to attend a church.
Half the houses are mosques.
Yeah.
Because they've got 8 people praying in their houses, they don't even pay poll tax. Because it's classed as a mosque. Because there's 8 of them, there's 8 in a family. Yeah. So that's every flaming Muslim household is technically doesn't have to pay ground for poll tax.
Well, there's the other big argument, isn't it? Fairness and equality. Why is it that if you're Muslim in this country, you get everything given to you on a plate, seemingly a huge percentage of their community is signing on? I wonder why, because they can't hold down a normal job because they're praying 15 times a bloody day. So, right, okay, we can't say anything because they're Muslim, but we better just give... Anjem Chowdhury, Jihad Seekers allowance that he proudly says that he claims. hang on a minute, he's made public statements on national TV that he's defrauding the Department of Work and Pensions, not actively... Has he been sanctioned? Have his benefits been stopped? It's a ridiculous scenario. Because these guys got a lot of clout. The same as there's down in Tower Hamlets, this election fraud that's taken place down there. And their spin doctor on the Muslim side has basically said everyone wants to shut up about this and shut up with accusations of election fraud or we'll riot. Yeah. Now there was a time in this country that the state would have stamped all over people like that, but they're terrified of them. And also, you've also got a lot of, obviously, Muslim lords, Muslim MPs, Muslim councillors.
It's not, I mean, it's Muslims from all different countries. The world isn't it? It's only the radical Muslims that cause the problem. If you go to Turkey or somewhere, there's no problem with the Muslims. If you go to Russia, I mean, 40% of the Russian army are Muslims. Yeah. Well, do you think they're going to be kicking off and shooting the odds?
If you look at what Putin said, really, Putin, love him or hate him, I kind of respect the way the guy works because at least he's keeping his country in order. He's not prepared to let a minority, which is still a minority, he's not prepared to let a minority dictate how the country's run. He's not prepared to run his society around the needs of these Muslims.
And that's extreme left communism.
Yeah. There's a lesson learned for everybody in situations. I mean, I've had a lot of people say, you'll make no difference. When we were having petitions, signatures yesterday, won't make a difference. Come and sign. You know, you're saying your town, oh no, it won't make a difference. But if we don't do anything, there's no chance. We've got to try and
I believe that it won't make a difference because it's gone too far now. It's just past the no return point. And not just in our country, but in a lot of other countries as well. And chipping away, it won't make any difference because they've got everything in the palm of their hands. They've got all the governments, they've got all the town halls, they've got everything in every party, and it won't make any difference. And this mosque that people are kicking off about now, yes, everybody will complain about it, it's ridiculous, totally ridiculous, but they'll still get it. You can mark they'll still get it. No matter if there was a big right in Bolton today and they burned the town hall down, it wouldn't make any difference, they'd still get it. Because they've already got the money in place now, 1.1 million or whatever.
But there's always that aspect to it.
Well, there is taxpayers' money, but they've got it, is what I'm saying.
When it does kick off, which it inevitably will, and that's not me encouraging it to do so or suggesting that we're advocating it, when the inevitable happens, as part of the logical progression in this country, at least days like today, people like me could turn around to the government and go, tried to warn you, told you so.
Well, I have no problems with them building a Super Mosque, if they need one. You know, I don't have a problem at all. But to build one when you don't need one, it's going to cause so much inconvenience to the rest of society where we live. It's just totally ridiculous.
It's a blatant statement of Islamic supremacy. We've had Muslims, we've had local Muslims coming on the Facebook page and saying, this isn't what Islam is about. Yeah. This isn't what we should be doing. This isn't the message that we should be sending out. They've got this very insular culture. They don't integrate. They don't want to be part of British society. They think they can carry on as if they're in their indigenous country.
There's a lot of Muslims integrate.
A lot do, yeah. Basically, the ones that...
We've actually got some Muslims that you've actually signed this year.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some Muslim friends, they're great. No problem.
Next time, petition? Good on you. Anyone they all collate together?
But it's too late, that's the only problem.
I had a lady the other day said to me, it was a great statement, she said, I've got some fantastic Muslim friends, you know, the ones that aren't religious.
Yeah. Well, the religion is the worst thing ever been invented, because it is an invention at the end of the
Most wars, most conflicts, most forms of subjugation have been implemented by, well, I would see most religions as a form of social ideology, an extreme social ideology.
As far as religion goes, everybody knows the difference between right and wrong. Everybody knows the difference whether they're doing something good or something bad. Religion's really got nothing to do with it. We all know. And anybody who differentiates from those particular things, there's something wicked about it.
Well, I know for a fact that the Sikhs are annoyed that the media is using Asians when there is a case of rapes and stuff like that. And the media should be honest and write Muslims, because the Sikhs don't actually rape anybody like that.
It was strange because there was an attack in Bolton recently that was all over Granada reports, and this woman, elderly lady, was attacked, dragged to the ground, ended up with her face smashed in off a couple of the lads. And I've watched this throughout the media. If they're Muslim, Asian, whatever you want to call them, there's no mention of their ethnicity within the report.
Many.
But if they're black, they were black. If they were white, they're white. You know, there's been an atrocious rape situation in town recently, and because the attacker was reported by the victim as being white, straight in the paper, white.
Why is it racist to call a Pakistani a Pakistan?
Exactly.
When you can abbreviate other people like we are Brits, the Americans are Yanks, Italians are Italians, Australians are Aussies, and they're breeding first class.
Well, I'm Welsh, and people are called no end. People call me Tam. Yeah. So I don't turn around and go, "Oh, you're a racist."
Yeah, but I mean, if calling a Paki is racist, then I'm a racist, and I'm proud of being one. Me personally, I'm proud of being one, because I hate absolutely, utterly hate.
I have to be careful what I agree and disagree with. I know your sentiment.
Every person I see in a burqa, I just feel like spitting in the face. They just annoy me completely.
Yeah.
You know, it's utterly disrespectful to people.
But it's the extremes of all cultures. It's like go down to areas where there's a very large black community, and particularly young black males seem to be very aggressive, got a bit of a chip on the shoulder. They do that really annoying, sucking their teeth thing.
Yeah.
Winds me up so much. And you just think, well, what is that supposed to signify?
You need a gap.
What? I can't do that. That's ridiculous. So, I don't know. Lovely to chat with you.
You as well, my friend. Have a nice day.
And you.
I signed it yesterday.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Cheers, mate.